15 greatest MMA fights of all time. There have been many great mixed martial arts, MMA fights over the years, but the question on everyone's mind is, which is the greatest mixed martial arts fight of all time? This is a difficult question to answer because every MMA fan has their own personal preferences, but there are some fights that made history, and we are sure you would agree. Hello and welcome back to MMA Guru TV. Today, we'll talk about the 15 greatest fights in MMA history. But first, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click that bell icon so you don't miss out on any future videos. And let's get started. Number 15, Nick Diaz versus Paul Daley, Strikeforce 2011. Given their bad blood before their 2011 fight, neither man seemed likely to survive. Diaz started the fight by talking trash and appeared to be in command even when Daley throws bombs. Daley's left hand knocked down Diaz. It was clear that the fight wouldn't last 5 rounds. Daley let Diaz stand, and the Strikeforce welterweight champion punched and kicked Daley. Daley collapsed from a blow, or maybe exhaustion. Number 14, Diego Sanchez versus Clay Guida, UFC Ultimate Fighter 2009. Before the fight, both of these fighters were well known for their offensive abilities. It was an opportunity for fans who supported one side or the other to demonstrate their superiority. Guida got off to a shaky start, and Sanchez punished him with a head kick. However, it appeared that the head kick assisted Guida in regaining consciousness as he became active in the second round while also dominating the stat figures. The rest of the rounds were split evenly, but Sanchez edged Guida by a couple of strikes. The judge's decision was split, but it favored Sanchez.
So what?
For the winner by split decision, Diego!
Its competitiveness, however, earned it the UFC Fight of the Night award, as well as the best fight of 2009. Number 13, Frankie Edgar versus Gray Maynard II from UFC 125 in 2011. This was a lightweight championship fight between current champion Frankie Edgar and the challenger Gray Maynard. Maynard, who was hungry for the championship, had been quick and offensive early in the fight and appeared to be on his way to becoming champion. But to show why he was the champion, Edgar retorted with a good combination of strikes, takedowns, and punches to retain his lightweight title. This fight is regarded as the best lightweight MMA fight in history, as well as the second best fight of 2011. It was also named the UFC Fight of the Night. Number 12, Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum, UFC 236 2019. When you're up against Israel Adesanya, the most accurate striker in the UFC has seen since Anderson Silva, you have to shake him early. Kelvin Gastelum did exactly that in the first round of UFC 236. Gastelum altered the course of the fight with a single punch. Adesanya would repay the favor in the subsequent rounds. Things were even going into the 5th and final rounds. That's when Adesanya demonstrates a champion's heart, summoning everything he had left in the tank to pick Gastelum apart. Gastelum deserves credit for remaining moral. The final round of Adesanya's fight at UFC 236 should be shown when he's inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Number 11, Justin Gaethje versus Michael Johnson, The Ultimate Fighter Redemption Finale 2017. Justin Gaethje is still regarded as one of the best strikers in the UFC, and this fight demonstrated that perfectly, sending combination after combination to Michael, as well as lethal kicks that proved to be the deciding factor. Justin won the fight, cementing his place in UFC history. This was a thrilling fight to watch, as well as a magnificent display of strength and endurance.
Who's next?
Number 10, Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk, UFC 248 2020. You'd think there wouldn't be any female fights on our list, but think again. Weili and Joanna had an epic match that was one for the ages. Zhang entered the fight on a 21-fight winning streak, which was unprecedented for the sport, and it turned out to be one of the best fights in UFC history, period.
Still the undisputed UFC strong.
Number 9, Cub Swanson versus Do Ho Choi, UFC 206 2016. Cub Swanson versus Do Ho Choi was a brutal UFC 206 fight. It's fun despite both men getting punched repeatedly. Swanson was having the time of his life while fighting the hardest fight of his career. Choi, in his mid-20s, was likely out of his league. He was the polar opposite of Swanson's wild creativity with a smooth boxing style. The fight left both men scarred. Swanson still smiling, knowing he's made history. Number 8, Vanderlei Silva versus Quentin Jackson II, Pride 28, 2004. To understand Vanderlei Silva and Quentin Rampage Jackson's Pride 28 rematch, review their first bout. Silva defeated Jackson in the first round of the Pride Middleweight Grand Prix a year earlier. Jackson was determined to prevent a repeat. He controlled the fight with his wrestling and dropped Silva with a straight right. Jackson's clinch struggles foreshadowed the rematch's outcome. Then Silva grabbed Jackson's head mid-exchange and kneed him. In a flash, Jackson was unconscious and bleeding on the ropes. Silva ran to the opposite corner and scared the boogeyman. Number 7, Conor McGregor vs. Nate Diaz 2, UFC 202, 2016. This was Conor McGregor's second fight with Nate Diaz, and he came out swinging. The two fought for the full 5 rounds, with neither giving up. This was one of the few times we saw Conor fight for the entire cycle. Usually his fights end much sooner. It was an epic fight, with Conor coming out on top and proving that his first loss was not something he could live with. Number 6, Dan Henderson vs. Shogun Rua 1, UFC 139, 2011. There are a few UFC draws in history. Shogun vs. Henderson is one. It's as hard to score as you'll ever see. Henderson destroyed Shogun in the first round, recalling Chuck Liddell's destruction of Tito Ortiz. In the first 2 rounds, it's hard to imagine how dominant Rua becomes later. This was Henderson's first fight after beating Fedor Emelianenko, and Shogun avenged a loss to Forrest Griffin. Both men wanted to win. It would be a fight to cement their already impressive legacies. Number 5, John Jones vs. Alexander Gustafsson 1, UFC 165, 2013. John Jones is widely regarded as the greatest of all time and unbeaten at this point of his career, until Gustafsson arrived and decided to challenge his supremacy. How did that go for him? Well, he was defeated. But the fight was remembered as an amazing fight in general, and viewers adored it, earning it a spot on this list of the greatest UFC fights of all time.
Bones Jones!
He sets the record.
Number 4, Mark Hunt vs. Antonio Silva 1, UFC Fight Night 2013. This war should have killed both men. We've never seen a more brutal MMA fight. Silva won the first 2 rounds with precise punches and leg kicks, and then the beast awoke. A bruised leg motivated Hunt. The fight becomes Godzilla vs. King Kong after Hunt drops Silva with a right. The end seemed imminent, but somehow Silva turned things around in the 4th round, leading to a final 5-minute round where both men look exhausted. Blood was everywhere. Hunt vs. Silva 1 isn't for the weak of heart, but it's for die-hard MMA fans for sure. Number 3, Matt Hughes vs. Frank Trigg 2, UFC 52, 2005. At the time of this spectacular fight, Matt Hughes was the welterweight champion. Frank Trigg had challenged Hughes for a rematch after being defeated 2 years prior. Trigg appeared to have gotten his revenge as he slammed blows and strikes to the champion before knocking him to the ground. Hughes found his feet in opposition and defeated Trigg out of rage and pride. Trigg is forced to tap out after about 4 minutes of battling Hughes' intensity. This match is regarded as one of the most notable round 1 comebacks, as well as one of the most exciting due to its suspense. Number 2, Robbie Lawler vs. Rory McDonald 2, UFC 189, 2015. Everything about this one felt epic. In round 2, Lawler punishes McDonald with a straight left. Lawler was psyched. The 3rd round changes when McDonald kicks Lawler in the head. Lawler endured punches, elbows, knees, and kicks. The 4th round ended with a bloody stare down. McDonald's nose broke. Lawler's lip splits. Lawler came out on fire knowing he was about to lose his title. McDonald collapsed after a nose punch. He had enough pain. That was a beatdown, Lawler said. And number 1, Forrest Griffin vs. Stephan Bonnar, the UFC Ultimate Fighter 1 finale, 2005. Prior to this point, MMA was not as popular in many countries as other sports. However, this super iconic fight propelled MMA to prominence because it featured 2 competent fighters competing for the title of the first ever Ultimate Fighter. Both had fought as hard as they could, and their skills and tactics were impressive. Despite the fact that both fighters are well known, the fight was won by Forrest Griffin over Stephan Bonnar. After the fight, MMA fans were in awe, and it is regarded as the greatest UFC fight in MMA history, and one that catapulted the UFC into the spotlight. So friends, our video's come to an end. We hope you enjoyed it. Please let us know in the comments which MMA fight is your all-time favorite, and please like and subscribe to this channel while you're at it. And we'll see you in the next one.